Have you ever experienced your car hesitating when you press the gas, stumbling at idle, or suddenly consuming more fuel than usual? You scan the car, search online for answers, and within minutes, almost everyone is telling you the same thing. Replace the mass airflow sensor. So you spend over $100 on a new sensor, install it, clear the code, and take the car for a drive, only to realize nothing has changed. The rough idle is still there. The hesitation is still there. And now you're out the cost of a part that wasn't even broken. If you've ever replaced a part hoping it would fix the problem, this video is for you because today I'm going to show you how to test your MAF sensor in just a couple of minutes using live data that's already available inside your car. Just a simple diagnosis that can save you both time and money. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed learning how to diagnose car problems the right way. Every week, we break down common check engine light codes and drivability issues, showing you how to find the real problem before spending money on repairs you may not even need. Now let's discuss why the mass airflow sensor is often blamed. The MAF sensor has almost become the default answer anytime a car runs poorly. Rough idle? People say it's the MAF. Poor acceleration? Replace the MAF. Bad fuel economy? Must be the MAF. While it certainly can fail, it's only one piece of a much larger system. Vacuum leaks, intake leaks, dirty throttle bodies, fuel delivery problems, and even damaged intake tubing can all create symptoms that look almost identical. That's why replacing the sensor without testing it is a little more than a guess. The good news is you don't need expensive equipment to check whether it's doing its job. Even an affordable scan tool that displays live data can tell you a lot in less than 2 minutes. The mass airflow sensor sits in the intake tube between the air filter and the throttle body. Inside the sensor is a tiny heated element. As air passes over it, the moving air cools the element down. The sensor measures how much electrical current is needed to keep that element at the correct temperature, then converts that information into a reading called grams per second. The engine computer relies on that number to determine how much fuel should be injected into the engine. If the airflow reading is too low, the computer injects less fuel than the engine actually needs. The result can be hesitation, poor acceleration, rough idle, or lean running conditions. If the airflow reading is too high, the engine computer adds more fuel than necessary, reducing fuel economy and, in some cases, producing black smoke from the exhaust. That's why understanding the direction of the error is just as important as knowing that one exists. The first test is incredibly simple. Warm the engine completely, switch off accessories like the air conditioning, and look at the MAF reading while the engine is idling. As a general rule, the reading in grams per second should be close to your engine's displacement in liters. For example, a 2.0-liter engine should normally read somewhere around 2 grams per second. A 3.5-liter V6 should be close to 3.5 grams per second, while a 5.0-liter V8 should be somewhere around 5 grams per second. This isn't an exact specification for every vehicle, but it's a very reliable guideline that quickly tells you whether something looks abnormal. Let's say your 3.5-liter engine is only reading 1.5 grams per second. That's a warning sign. Now give the throttle a quick snap. A healthy MAF sensor should respond immediately with a smooth increase in airflow before settling back down as the engine returns to idle. If the reading climbs slowly, freezes, or jumps around unpredictably, the sensor may be contaminated or beginning to fail. But here's where many people make another expensive mistake. They stop testing right there and order a replacement sensor. The problem is that a vacuum leak can produce almost the exact same readings. Both a vacuum leak and an underreporting MAF sensor can cause the engine computer to add extra fuel. If you only look at the airflow reading, it's easy to blame the wrong component. Fortunately, your scan tool has another piece of information that makes the answer much clearer, and it only takes a few more seconds to check. That's where fuel trims come in. If this is already saving you from buying parts you don't need, take a second to hit the like button. It helps this video reach more drivers who are tired of guessing and want to fix their cars the right way. Now let's use those fuel trim numbers to separate a bad MAF sensor from a vacuum leak once and for all. Fuel trims tell you how much the engine computer is adjusting the fuel mixture to keep the engine running properly. If those numbers are positive, the computer is adding fuel because it believes the engine is running lean. If they're negative, it's taking fuel away because it thinks the mixture is too rich. The trick isn't just looking at the fuel trims, it's comparing them at idle and again around 3,000 RPM. Here's why that matters. A vacuum leak has its biggest effect when the engine is idling. At idle, the engine isn't pulling in much air, so even a small leak becomes a large percentage of the total airflow. The computer notices the lean condition and starts adding fuel, causing the long-term fuel trim to climb. Now slowly raise the engine speed to about 3,000 RPM. As airflow increases, that same vacuum leak becomes much less significant compared to the total amount of air entering the engine. If the fuel trims drop back toward normal, you found one of the strongest signs of a vacuum leak, rather than a faulty MAF sensor. But if the fuel trims remain high at idle and at higher RPM, that's a different story. That usually points toward the MAF sensor consistently underreporting airflow because the incorrect reading affects the engine across the entire operating range. That simple comparison takes less than a minute and can save you from replacing the wrong part. Now let's talk about something that catches a lot of people off guard. Many MAF sensors that get replaced aren't actually broken, they're just dirty. Over time, tiny particles of dust, dirt, and oil build up on the sensing element. One of the biggest causes is an over-oiled aftermarket air filter. Excess filter oil can be pulled into the intake and to coat the delicate sensing wire, preventing it from measuring airflow accurately. The good news is that cleaning it is both quick and inexpensive. Use a dedicated MAF sensor cleaner and nothing else. Avoid brake cleaner, carburetor cleaner, or other harsh solvents, because they can damage the sensor housing or leave residue behind. Remove the sensor carefully, spray the sensing element thoroughly, allow it to dry completely, then reinstall it and repeat the live data test. You'd be surprised how many vehicles return to normal after nothing more than a proper cleaning. If the readings are still incorrect after cleaning and you've already ruled out vacuum leaks, then replacement becomes the next logical step. When that time comes, don't automatically buy the cheapest sensor you can find online. Mass airflow sensors are calibrated specifically for your engine. Low-quality aftermarket sensors often don't match the factory calibration, which can leave you chasing fuel trim problems even after installing a brand new part. Whenever possible, choose a quality OEM sensor or a trusted manufacturer such as Bosch, Denso, or Delphi. Spending a little more upfront often saves you from diagnosing the same problem twice. After replacing the sensor, don't forget one final step that many people miss. Clear the adaptive fuel trims using your scan tool. Over time, the engine computer learns to compensate for incorrect airflow readings. Resetting those learned values allows the computer to start fresh, with accurate information from the new sensor. Before you spend money on any replacement part, there's one last inspection that's absolutely worth doing. Carefully examine the intake tube between the MAF sensor and the throttle body. Even a small crack in that rubber tube allows unmetered air to enter the engine after it passes the sensor. Remove the intake tube if necessary, flex it gently, and inspect the underside where cracks often develop. Pay close attention to the ribbed sections because that's where splits usually begin. Also, check that every clamp is tight and every hose connected to the intake tube is secure. A damaged intake boot often costs a fraction of what a new MAF sensor costs, yet it can produce the same rough idle, hesitation, poor acceleration, and positive fuel trims. That's why diagnosis should always follow the same order. Compare your fuel trims at idle and higher RPM, inspect the intake system for leaks, clean the sensor if necessary. Only replace it after you've confirmed it's actually the source of the problem. Following that process not only saves money, but also saves you the frustration of replacing perfectly good parts while the real problem continues to get worse. If you found this guide helpful, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who's dealing with a rough-running engine. In our next video, we'll cover another trouble code that fools thousands of drivers every year: P2096, post-catalyst fuel. Trim too lean, what causes it, and how to clear it for good. We'll explain why so many people replace oxygen sensors and catalytic converters unnecessarily, how to find the real cause of the code, and the simple diagnostic steps that can save you hundreds of dollars. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.